should dispute it. I think that it would be possible to phase out the coal CO2 emissions, and I think we need to do that. But so we have, I think, a basic conflict between fossil fuel special interests and young people and nature, and it looks like this is a very uneven fight because fossil fuel interests have money talks in Washington and other capitals, and as I say, animals are not much help. But you know, we're going to have to. Fossil fuels are not going to last forever anyhow. So the world is going to have to figure out an energy source other than fossil fuels. So why not do it now instead of waiting? Instead of introducing something which we're certain is going to cause a huge problem for our children and grandchildren and the unborn. And all it does is give us a little money for a short period of time. So we need a strategic approach, but unfortunately we don't have leadership that looks at the long time scale. And what has happened is the governments are now starting to talk about, oh, we know there's a problem, we agree there's a problem, and then they say we're doing this and that. It's really greenwash, because what they're doing are very marginal things which don't solve the problem. The governments that are most green, or appear to be, are planning to build more coal-fired power plants, so they simply don't get it. I think that the two things that are essential are phasing out coal emissions, and the United Kingdom, the United States, and Germany are the most responsible on a per capita basis for the CO2 in the atmosphere, so we should be leading the effort. But I also think that we need to have a price on carbon emissions, because that, but if you put a tax on carbon emissions, the only way the public will accept that is if you give all the money back to the public. Don't let the politicians decide how they're going to use the money or who. So if you just gave it back on a per capita basis, deposited in people's bank accounts on a monthly basis, then those people who want to, it would eventually be a substantial amount of money, and people would decide, well, I'm going to reduce my carbon emissions, so I reduce my tax, and I'll make money. Those people who do better than average will make money, and those people who have 4 SUVs or Hummers will lose money. But that's fine. So that would encourage innovation, because those companies would want to make money, so they would want to make products that use less fossil fuels. And that would be the, and of course we should eliminate the fossil fuel subsidies, and that way the marketplace would choose the winners, and we should change the profit motive of utilities. Right now, utilities make more money if they sell you more energy. Their profits are proportional to the amount of energy they sell you. We should change it so that they make more money if they help you conserve energy. And then the bottom line that I want to emphasize is that I think this is really an intergenerational issue. A question of equity and justice. And our parents did not know about this, so they had a defense, but that defense is no longer viable. Now, I even think there's a question of legal liability for those industries, fossil fuel industries, that have in effect hired contrarians to confuse the public about this story so that they can continue to make maximum profits. And I think, as I mentioned on that last point, I think there's likely to be increasing public protests. If I were a young person, I think I would be protesting. But this, actually, older people should be protesting, but there was this case in England, where, the United Kingdom, where people climbed this smokestack and painted, they were painting Gordon Bennett on the tower, where Gordon Brown is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. But they got arrested, and they were charged with $65,000 worth of damage and also threatened with prison terms. But the jury declared they were innocent because they were protecting property of greater value, which namely the planet. And now, unfortunately, that doesn't set a precedent. It doesn't set a legal precedent. And last week, there was this case in Wise County, Virginia, where young protesters were arrested, and 2 of them were charged with 14 counts of crimes topped by obstruction of justice for blocking the entrance to the construction site of the coal-fired power plant. And they realized, and their lawyer realized, that they really had little chance of winning that case because of the unfavorable jury pool and the large number of counts against them. They just didn't think it was likely that the jury would find them innocent on all charges. And it just seems that the justice system was the case of where the justice system is working hand in glove with the fossil fuel industry. And so it's a continuing, and there was actually a story in the New York Times that said that I had encouraged young people to protest, which is unlawful. And I actually have not said that. What I've said is that now is the time to try to influence the political process. This year, and I have had a press conference with the group Power Vote, and have tried to encourage young people to get active in the political process. And then after the elections, you've got to hold the people elected accountable, because they're just the pressures, the financial pressures from the fossil fuel industry and special interests just seems to be enormous. So somehow we've got to be able to hold the politicians accountable. But that reminds me, I did meet some young people today. One of them was, and I'm at the end of my talk, so I wanted Ann Fitzgerald to give her a chance to make a comment about this Power Vote.